Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I am your host Faisal Raza Khan and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, Pakistan's geostrategic location has immense blessings and challenges as well. Pakistan, though facing lots of internal challenges like political instability, economic crisis and security issues, but lots of these things has external dimensions. For example, Indian state-sponsored terrorism inflicting terrorism and extrajudicial killings in Pakistan, and India using it as a foremost foreign policy tool against Pakistan. Afghanistan's non-cooperation, particularly not taking action against all those terrorist outfits who have taken refuge at its soil. While Iran question is again a huge one. Then US-China rivalry, in which Pakistan is actually seeking balance to have relations with United States as well as China. Palestinian crisis, particularly the Gaza genocide. Along with that, Pakistan's geostrategic location again facing brunt of Russian-Ukrainian war. IMF program, particularly the standby arrangement, along with that, the new program which is going to be envisaged when there would be a new government. So, as you all know that elections 2024 are just at the doorstep. Next month, whole of the nation is going to vote for the next government. But whosoever party or parties are going to have the next government or the new government, they have daunting challenges at the foreign affairs front. We will discuss this important matter, the elections 2024, and what about the next government and its foreign relations. To discuss this important issue, we have in our studios Hassan Khan. He is the senior journalist. Most welcome to you, Hassan.
Thank you, Faisal.
And we are fortunate that former ambassador Mia Sanaullah is also joining us online. Most welcome to you, sir, as well. Hassan, my first question to you, that as we all know that the elections are right at the doorstep and people are going to vote for their favorite parties. But do you think that the political parties are cognizant of the foreign affairs of Pakistan and explain their foreign policy or the foreign policy priorities in their manifestos and all over?
Thank you very much, Faisal. I think as you rightly said that there are in your intro that Pakistan, especially the coming government, whichever party is coming into power, they will face a lot of challenges, both internally and externally. On external front, you rightly mentioned Afghanistan. It's a very difficult challenge for Pakistan to manage, and the new emerging crisis with Iran. I think that has been handled very well.
Yeah, definitely.
But still, it is
all the credit goes to them, really.
Yeah, definitely go to the current administration that they, without emotionalizing it too much, because it was sensitive. Sending missiles across the border to Iran, it was a type of a taboo if you look at it. I think for the first time somebody...
You're absolutely right. It was very difficult to see.
After Iran-Iraq war, I think it will be the first missiles from a foreign land which landed on an Iranian soil. So then definitely we have to manage between the challenge, the Ukrainian war, which is posing a challenge, how to handle the West and the South and the North. Then we have the two important capitals, which both are very close to Pakistan, the Chinese and Washington. So you have to. It's a very tight. It's called a tightrope walking for Pakistan to keep Beijing also on its side, and on the other side to have Washington and carry both, because you also need the Western capitals, and especially the US, especially the economic challenges which we are facing right now. So definitely we will be waiting, we will be seeking the international monetary support from the international bodies. So these are the challenges, but I think there was a bad patch of a few years.
What about the political parties?
So that's what I'm coming to. That I think 2018 to 2000, almost 21 or 22, we were having, I think, a deteriorating patch on the foreign front. So we lost very good friends. I think we were not on the talking term with the US. I think with the Chinese, we were having, there were certain troubles with the Chinese. Then you know how we handle the Middle Eastern friends, etc. So then there is the new government come, the which you call the PDM government, or later on is the caretaker government. So I think somehow they have managed the situation. Now the stage is, at least it will not be a smooth work for the next government. However, it will not be that difficult, which it was in 2021 or 22. Beyond that, so I think the elections are already at the corner, I think. So definitely, I think Pakistanis will go through that biggest event in a country on a single day, election day, and we will have I personally believe that we will have a fairly stable government. When there is a stable government, and they will definitely carry what the ground is being prepared by the caretaker setup or the one by the PDM setup. I think there will not be that big changes in the foreign policy front.
Already they have done some sort of patchwork, the last government and the current.
That's what I'm saying. Especially the PDM
well.
government has done when Bilal Bhutto Zardari was the foreign minister and Shehbaz Sharif was he was the prime minister, and now then the caretaker government. I think already we have since August, we have 7-8 months. Already we 7-8 months already there. So I think the caretaker government has also carried its conduct very well. So for the next government, it will not be that difficult things, because already you have the foundation.
Well elaborated, Hassan.
You have the foundation.
Well elaborated. Ambassador Sanaullah, when we are talking about IMF program and the friendly country support to Pakistan, do you think that the political leadership is geared up on that account as well? Because it's going to be a daunting challenge when the next government takes oath.
Definitely there would be great challenges and risks, and the perception of risk, both in terms of sovereignty and economic as well as territorial sovereignty, would determine the response, or some changes may be marginal in our policy preferences, foreign policy preferences. As far as the current government is doing, interim government is doing some action, I think it is a damage control management mostly, and they have done something very good on Iran-Pakistan border. But the problems are bigger than their own capacity, frankly, because the risk factor and the challenges are far greater than their capacity, their mandate, etc. And the next government is not likely to be a one party, but a combination of few major parties. And if they are not considered credible by the domestic people, then the domestic expression or image or branding would be difficult to sell abroad. And that would impact on our capacity to conduct a fairly good, proportionate to our nuclear position and our middle level power abroad, even among our friends. Already we are facing problem on all our borders. Except China, we do not have neighborly relations which we can describe as very good or excellent. Yes, they are manageable, and we are doing under the circumstances a better job.
Ambassador Sanaullah, your point well taken. Hassan, when we are talking about overall scenario, particularly the overseas Pakistanis, because they are having a great sacrifices when it comes to their remittances, their contributions for Pakistan's building and Pakistan's image abroad particularly. So how do you see their welfare? Do you see anything in the political agendas that for their welfare?
I think, Faisal, this is quite unfortunate that we have ignored our expat Pakistanis for decades. Lately, we realized that the expat Pakistanis are the ambassadors. Each and everyone is the ambassador.
They are the ambassadors.
Unfortunately, our bureaucratic setup, whether it is a foreign office or the civil bureaucracy, based on the the colonial style of governance. So they keep themselves away, especially from the ordinary people, whether Middle East, especially those working in the Middle East, or European countries, or in the Eastern countries, Eastern region. So that was the problem. But lately, I think the previous 2-3 governments, they focused on, this Ministry of Overseas Pakistan, etc., were just a redundant type of things. Where nobody was having an interest in taking that ministry. But now that ministry is growing big, and important people are taking interest in that ministry. So I think Pakistan.
Some of the people I know, and some of the public welfare attachis as well.
Yes,
they are doing an excellent job.
I think now, as I said, now they are focusing on, especially now we are focusing on economic diplomacy very lately, unfortunately. I think it should have been the first priority of our development of the foreign missions to attract foreign investors.
And we have seen lots of ambassadors as well. They are people friendly.
Yeah, a lot of ambassadors. Yes. The Pakistanis ambassador, I think we have very good names, and who are very good in, especially in when they were in managing international conflicts, and the interlock as
what about the political parties? Do you think?
I think now at least the agenda will be set by the political parties. I think this is the responsibility of the political parties to come up with an agenda and focus on these millions of expat Pakistanis. They are not only the ambassadors of Pakistan. I think their remittances, this RDA, Russian, this new which foreign currency account,
Russian digital account.
Russian digital accounts, I think already billions of dollars have been attracted to it. So I think now this is the time for any political parties which come into power, especially the next parliament, to focus on expat Pakistanis, both to get financial benefit for the country, and at least, as Ambassador Sana has said, that the imaging of the country, this is very, very crucial. When you are selling your image, when you are selling your product, at least you must have a good image among those who are among the buyer. So I think in expat Pakistanis, we have very influential people, especially in the US and in the West, and in countries like Australia and Japan, etc. So I think they can be used as an assets. But however, I think I have to admit that hardly I see any political party's manifesto which has programs. Like we are, I think we are complaining that our political parties doesn't have any what you call it, any plan or any agenda for the youth,
but that
which is making 60% of it.
Must have to
so
be
I
there.
think there must have.
Ambassador Sana, when we are talking about India, India is continuously using terrorism as its a tool of its foreign policy against Pakistan. So how do you see that? Because now they are targeting Pakistanis within the country, within Pakistan, and involved in extrajudicial killing. So how do you see that? It's a huge challenge for Pakistan, really.
Actually, I cannot add more what the Foreign Office has already said at the Foreign Secretary level. And let's see how the world react to it. But I will come back to the investment part of the Pakistani, overseas Pakistani. The time has changed. It is not only the soft power which can sell Pakistan and can induce or persuade our Pakistanis, affluent Pakistani, to invest in Pakistan. You have to provide them a good model of governance and total protection of their investment. And above, or more importantly, consistency in policy. Unfortunately, I have not seen, I have followed the debate on the TV, etc., about different parties. They are making, they are selling dreams without any iota of reality they can deliver. They have not come up with some concrete program, so it would be difficult. It is only the love of the overseas Pakistani, their care for their families and their care for their fatherhood, fatherland, that they are still investing. I would say that do not expect anything good from India. India is a hostile country, and we have to manage our relationship, trilateral relationship, and that is China, India, Pakistan, because India is taking advantage of its enmity or hostility or competition with China to create a situation where they will have the highest level of technology, warfare, and ability uh, to launch what you have mentioned, extrajudicial killing, violation of our sovereignty, our own laws through their network of agents, which is very disturbing. They have gone so bold. They have did it in other countries too. Hopefully, those Western countries would now understand and appreciate the concrete evidence we have on this account and listen to what Foreign Office through its foreign missions and UN present facts and bare facts. Thank you.
Your point well taken, Mr. Ambassador. Hassan, when we are talking about Kashmir issue particularly, it's a desire of the people of Pakistan even that political parties must have to come very transparent on that, and Kashmiris need support. So do you think that this Kashmir policy will be continued till the next government will arrive, or they are going to tow it internationally and to spread the word that Kashmiris are facing genocide, war crimes at the hand of occupation forces?
Look, Faisal, I think there is no doubt in it that Kashmir is the only problem for the Pakistanis, which the entire Pakistan is united on it. Whether somebody is religious, it is a religious leaning or non-religious leanings, or whether it is the military, whether it's the civil society, whether it's the political leadership. So I think across the board, the people of Pakistan, and I think the leadership definitely agree over the fact that Kashmir issue is central not only to the foreign policy of Pakistan, but I think to each and everybody's, it's very close to each and everybody's heart. It's not only the people of Pakistan who desire that Kashmir, the Indian occupation must end, especially on the Indian occupied Kashmir. So I think it is the people of Kashmir who are keeping this pot boiling. I think they are keeping this lamp burning. There are, I think, more than 7 lakhs, what we call it, the Indian military and paramilitary forces, which are engaged here, suppressing the Kashmiris. The media is totally, I think, closed in Indian occupied Kashmir. A human rights activist, a human rights violation is a daily routine there now. Kashmir has become a new normal for the world, I think. The Indian
so
atrocities.
Hassan, when we are talking about Indian atrocities everywhere, not only in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, but also in Pakistan, because they are supporting terrorism, and Indian supported terrorist organizations have taken refuge not only in Afghanistan but also in Iran as well. So why both the countries are not taking actions against all those? And secondly, what about particularly the water issues? Because India is actually instigating all these issues, and then now India is supporting Afghan Interim Authority as well to build dams on those rivers directed towards Pakistan, and Pakistan is the low riparian.
I think this is quite unfortunate that India now, I think, to divert the attention of the international community especially, and weaken Pakistani's position, they have now started, I think, sandwiching Pakistans on the Western bodies. You rightly mentioned the Indian influence in Afghanistan and the Iranian, I think, Kulbhushan Yadav. It is a very, very clear violation of the international laws, and even I think we have to complain definitely to the Iranian how they are keeping the Indian agents on their sides who are crossing the border, killing the innocent Pakistanis, I think, destroying the Pakistanis infrastructures, whether communication or other. So I think you rightly mentioned that India have now taken the war, the conflict away from its own lane. Now they are fighting Pakistan and from Afghan land. They are fighting Pakistan from the Iran. And now look at, it's not only Pakistan. Look the way the Canadian Prime Minister, he spoke in the Parliament, saying that India has killed the Canadian national, the Indian intelligence agency. And then again, the US
They
also.
have attempted at the US soil as well, and they have
US,
killed at least a couple of people belongs to the Sikh community in UK as well.
in UK. So I think now it is not only Pakistan. Previously it was only Pakistan which was crying. I think it was just a cry in the desert. Now I think there are so many voices against this Indian, as you rightly mentioned in your intro, that they are using it as a foreign policy instrument, killing the people who raise voice against the Indian atrocities, whether it is against the Sikh minorities, the Muslim minorities, or the other regional geographical locations where different movements are going on. So whosoever is raising voice against the Indian atrocities, they are being killed, whether it is a Canadian national, whether it is the American national, is a Pakistani national, or whosoever it is. So I think Indians are I think they are playing very smart. But the fact is that India is, as Ambassador Sana has said, this is the image which matter. They are, I think, projecting their image as we are the world biggest democracy, etc. It is the world biggest market. So definitely they will be the world big middle class, I think, consumer market for them. So definitely it is a 1,300,000,000 population. So they are cashing it. They are selling it to the world that we have such a big population. So I think look at our Middle Eastern friends. They are very close to us definitely, but sometimes they are also shy of taking or speaking against India. The reason is you're a huge financial and economic
definitely
interest.
because of the huge
but
market.
Despite that, OIC
yes.
has condemned, I think, this recent Ram Mandir case where the Babri built on the foundation of the Babri Mosque. The OIC voice was I think it was a very prudent and very strong voice that asking India to protect the holy places of Muslims. But it is a big challenge, I think, whosoever come into power, handling Indian these new approaches and their outreach, I think, especially it will be a big challenge for whichever parties come into power in the next election.
Thank you very much, Hassan Khan, for your presence here in the studios. Thank you very much for that. Well elaborated. Ambassador Sanaullah, when we are talking about issue of GCC countries, particularly the Gulf Cooperation Council and Pakistan's FTA with them, also Pakistan's historic relations with all those countries, do you think that there would be a huge responsibility at the political parties who are going to be in the government in the next phase, that how to be with GCC countries and how successfully go through the FTA as well?
Basically, I'm only confident that all the parties are interested in forging very good, very solid, very vibrant relations with GCC countries as well as with Arab countries. It is also partly mentioned in our own constitution as a priority as far as foreign policy is concerned. How it would be implemented by the government, I'm not so sure. I don't feel so confident. We look up to them as financiers, as investors at their own terms and conditions, which may not be now acceptable to more politically conscious people of Pakistan. But definitely what would matter most is can these elections deliver a stable government? Would the forces who control part of the foreign policy allow the reality to sink in their risk perceptions and their own geo-economic as well as geo-political perceptions? These are the minimums which are required for Pakistan to survive and overcome its economic domestic problems, which are huge, which are an expanding spiral or trap. We must avoid it by being together and being tolerant, being appreciating the limits of each others and giving weightage to good governance and rule of law.
So, Ambassador
This
Sanaullah, you have rightly mentioned about the economic hiccups. So, do you think because standby arrangement of IMF is going to end in April, so that would be the start of the new government. So, how it would be a great challenge for a new government to have a long-term IMF plan, number one, sorry, and secondly, the foreign relations with other countries, particularly the European Union, who have just extended the GSP Plus for another 4 years. So, how do you see that?
basically both these things are interdependent. If we get the IMF long terms, which we cannot right now decline or cannot afford to not to have it, so we will have to accept the conditionalities, whatever they come up, and the government, new government, will have to accept it. I think there is no second issue. Most of the parties have themselves reconciled to the fact that they have to raise funds through various modes, like IMF facilities, or like selling funds, or going investing in national loss-making national entities. There are various modes which are open to our economists. But the issue is that GC EU market is the collectively this very good market for Pakistan. But do we have saleable commodities? If we continue to have shortages, electricity shortages, and we are unable to deliver our own commitments, our commercial commitments, what benefit and in what way we will accrue from their open, enhanced market for Pakistani product.
Thank you very much. Your point well taken. We welcome viewers. Muhammad Ali Baig, he is the senior analyst, so most welcome to you, Baig, in the program. When we are talking about Pakistan's foreign relations, Pakistan has a very fruitful relations with the United States, and these are very important in terms that US is the largest investor in Pakistan. We are having a huge foreign direct investment as well, coming straight away, and an export destination. US has a great influence, and elections are there in United States as well. So how much it would be a challenge for a new government to have relations with the United States?
There is a tendency among states that sometimes they prefer to externalize their internal problems. That has been a testament, and the world history is a witness to that very fact, that sometimes that nations, when of course they are facing some troubles at the domestic front, they try and externalize their problems. We have faced that problems, I think, right from the beginning. We must not forget the issue of Pakistanis. We haven't forgotten the position taken by the Afghan government on the Durand line. They call it Durand and we call it the international border. Of course, in the eyes of international law, it is the international border.
Yes, it is.
Nothing can deny that. It's a fact. It's an undeniable fact. Well, when it comes to Pakistan-US relations, fortunately, a couple of days earlier, I had a meeting with a US diplomat, and we shared thoughts on our relations. US is not only important for us in terms of our strategic relations, but Pakistan is equally important for the United States. We must not forget that Pakistan was the first country in South Asia to extend relations with the US, and we were the ones who signed the Mutual Defense Agreement in 1950, December 1950. We performed far better than India. Of course, we have some problems with our eastern neighbor, but even after that, in 55, in 54, we were part of CATO and CENTO, and our strategic cooperation just continued. It reflects and it tells Pakistan's importance.
But do you think that it is going to be a great challenge for the next political government, whosoever would be?
Well, challenges and opportunities, they come hand in hand. It depends on what particular thing you just hold on to. But I think that, of course, we have seen the events which happened on January 6, 2021.
Pertaining to the challenges Pakistan is facing internally, like IMF program, like lots of things, because these have external dimensions.
Exactly.
Pakistan is facing a security challenge because of Afghanistan, Indian intervention, state-sponsored terrorism. India is an ally to United States, a counterweight to China. They are trying to make it, and also China containment policy, which is straight away coming from Washington.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is an election, and the expected service, whatever coming, whether we are ready to face Trump administration as well. So there are lots of questions about the Pakistan's relations with US. How do you explain it?
Well, as you have mentioned, India, the US policymakers, they inside their Indo-Pacific strategy, and they intend to make India as the net security provider, which of course we are not going to accept in any possible way. You just cannot make a policeman in a region like America did in the past. Of course, once Iran under Raza Shah Pahlavi was aspiring to become a regional policeman, but it could not. These, there is a difference between aspirations, dreams, and realities.
Obviously.
You can have aspirations, you can have dreams, but of course realities are very hard. Sometimes, of course, pretty hard to even accept. But yes, they are likely to have challenges because of the China-Pakistan economic corridor and Pakistan's growing relations with China. We need China, and China needs Pakistan. That's a fact.
There is no doubt about it.
There is no doubt about it. So, and recently the US diplomats, I mean, they have made it very clear that I think they understand, and they know the importance of Pakistan-China relations as well.
They really understand?
Yeah, of course, they do. Even if they don't understand, they will eventually understand.
Okay.
So I think that when we'll have a new government, and of course, God willing, in a couple of weeks maybe, and we are likely to have elections in November this year in the US as well. So we all know that what Mr. Trump is doing in the domestic politics of the US, and he has been trumpeting the right-wing politics, the populist politics for that matter. But I think that America is a democracy, Pakistan is a democracy, India is a democracy. And these democracies, because I'm a scholar of international relations, so we believe
there are lots of questions about Indian democracy.
Yes, of course there are. There are questions about, especially after 2013, Indian democracy doesn't sound like a true democracy, a true liberal democracy. We call our democracy the Islamic democracy, but I think Indians should start calling their democracy not as liberal democracy.
So
but
your point well taken.
Yeah.
Ambassador Sanaullah, when we are talking about Pakistan's relations with United States, it's a very tricky question that there is a US-China rivalry, and Pakistan is seeking balance in between both, because Pakistan has cordial relations with both, and with China it's a strategic relation, and Pakistan wants to strengthen it. The CPAC and all other important projects are there. So how do you see that, how much Pakistan is flexible and how much next government would be accommodative in that sense?
As you put it very rightly, it is a very complex bilateral relationship, very important to Pakistan, and also important and significant to Americans. And even after their departure from Afghanistan, they have still some strategic interest in the region for which they need Pakistan. But if we go into it, there are convergences and there are some divergences in the relationship. America has always played its national card, which it should, and as a global power, it had the power, the capacity, and influence that it could subvert some of our core issues. You have developed on a historical perspective with regard to China and India. We in the 60s, despite us being part of their alliances, we were punished, we were more sanctioned. I think that would be, I don't see a balancing. We are trying our best. We have to look protect our national interest, and national interests are known to each party, and the character of our parties and our leadership is such that sometimes they tend to ignore national interest and take their individual decisions, which is a bad thing for the country, for the region, and that is one reason we have not been able to exploit our strategic location as much as we could have. I don't see many chances that without the support of the Americans, we can have access to international funding, which we require to overcome our debt trap and enhance our access to high technology and access to some weaponry we need, and especially the spare parts we need for our Air Force and other related warfare machines. And we also need their support at UN-related financial institutions where we are seeking some help, notwithstanding this.
Well elaborated, Ambassador Mia Sanaullah, and thank you very much for your precious time to Foresight. We are very thankful to you and well elaborated. When we are talking about Baig, about Pakistan's relations with China, it is important that CPEC's next phase, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor's next phase is on, and along with that, it is important that many Chinese companies want to bring investments in Pakistan. So how do you see that how much opportunities we have to bring China more closer regarding the strategic relations and then the economic relations?
Well, the first thing for any investment to take place, I think, is peace and security. Of course, Pakistan right now is in the crosshairs of many hostile intelligence agencies and their saboteurs. Just yesterday, we saw the press conference of our Foreign Secretary, and he elaborated each and everything. It was actually an eye-opening press briefing. So I think that for the next phase of CPEC, first thing that we need to do is to review the CPEC. What we missed, what we gained, and what needs to be done. These are the questions that we need to address before moving on, of course. Sometimes, we perhaps it is intrinsic to our nation that we overlook things. We should not overlook things, because when nations and states start doing these things, it
definitely we have to be deep into the things, and we have to be quick in the things. And the quick question again is that what are the daunting challenges on the foreign affairs front, particularly for the next government?
Well, I think that we have not, honestly speaking, as I said earlier, that in the beginning we were very good in our foreign policy. Yes, of course, there were ups and downs. But I think personally, because we are working in another Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I think that our ministry is recalibrating its position. And now we are likely to actually look back and learn. And we must. If we don't, of course, there will be problems for us. When it comes to nobody can actually predict the future. That is the problem. But of course, we can foresee, we can assess, we can predict somehow. And what I predict and what I assess is that we are likely to have very good relations with China, especially because we need China. In 10 years of CPEC, because last year we celebrated the decade of CPEC, of course, we achieved a lot. We did achieve a lot. $26.2 billion of investment in Pakistan. Almost 30 projects were completed. Almost 12 to 15 have completed in terms of feasibility reports, and around 20 are being actually perceived. So I think it's a good thing that apart from all those bad things which we have suffered.
Thank you very much, Mohammad Ali Baig. Thank you very much for your time being in studios and well elaborated. Thank you very much for your candid views as well. Viewers, as you have listened to our panelists, that no doubt that Pakistan facing a lot of challenges at the foreign affairs front, and Pakistan's foreign office is doing excellent job in that sense, that we are gearing up for all those challenges and to meet them, and also create opportunities for Pakistan, particularly at the economic front, because it is very important to have a successful IMF program, and then we have a long-term program as well. Region is volatile, but Pakistan has to go on with it, and Pakistan has to take vital decisions in that. No doubt daunting challenges for the next political government, whosoever would be, but we have to be very cautious, we have to be very positive in that sense, and we have to go along with it. This is today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz.